it's Lee from coloringqueen.net, and today I want to show you the latest colouring book by Jasmine Becket-Griffith. Now, she's one of my favourite artists. I absolutely would love to own one of her original paintings. They're just gorgeous. And she has got a new book called Mermaids. And Mermaids is in the same format as her previous colouring books. So if you're familiar with those, it's got the same fabulous paper that's 150 GSMs, comes with a lovely dust jacket, plain card cover on the inside. This one contains 55 illustrations and they're printed on this off-white type paper. There's a note from Jasmine to start the book. And just as with her other books, there's a bit about the original painting that this line art was created from. Now, unlike her other books, this one is quite, well, not hugely different, but it is different from the others in the layout and in the design. So in this one, you'll see a lot more greying out or different line colours here on the imagery. And in some images, you'll see a lot more open space where you can probably complete details yourself. Like there's no pattern or anything here. And, you know, some of it has more of a sketchy look than her previous books. And I think that's to accommodate colourists of all different levels, but also colourists that want to add in their own effects and perhaps create their own painterly type look like her original paintings are. So as you can see, this line weight is a lighter grey, and then we've got the really deep black thick outline here. So this would merge with the picture when you colour it and create that sort of painterly look. And we've got a lot of images that are quite big on the page as well, with lots of open space, and probably again for colourists that have a minor visual impairment. And see, normally I would expect in a Mermaids colouring book that all the scales have been done, but they've been left blank. And see how this is light grey in the background, and again that's probably to show the dimension that's way in the background, this is in the foreground, but also to give that painterly look. As you can see, the images are orientated both portrait style and landscape, and again there's no detail here, and you could perhaps draw the scales in. And down here it's like light grey and it's almost like a pencil mark. The other thing that I noticed was in her previous colouring books, and I'll show you later, and again this has got that same sort of sketchy look I was referring to earlier, there are smaller images. And although there's a couple of small images in this one, there's not as many as in the previous ones. And again, we don't have the scales on her tail that normally you would expect with a mermaid. So when you have a look at the original paintings, which I've gone and had a look at a few of them today, and you'll see the sort of painterly look that she does, obviously because she's a painter, but it's maybe they're being left blank so that you too can create that sort of look. And because the paper is a lovely medium quality, it's 150 GSM, so you should be able to pop in paper behind it and use your watercolours or other mediums, as long as you've got something behind that paper, to achieve your own sort of painterly look. Now, some obviously have more darker outlines and are more similar to her previous colouring books, like this image. But, you know, others have a lot of these lighter aspects to them, and without the detail on the tail, etc. So this one's more like her previous books with all those lovely outlines, very easy to follow. In this one we've got those finer lines in the background and light greys. Some gorgeous illustrations in here. And I just love these big-eyed girls with their massive eyelashes. Especially these ones with the patterned outfits on them. This one's slightly smaller, but you'll notice that they're all bordered. They're well centered on the page. At the moment, the binding is really quite stiff. I apologise for the lighting in here today. It's a really miserable day in Sydney and I can't seem to get any better lighting happening. This one's just gorgeous with that ship in the background. Some really lovely images in here. And you can look up the original paintings, which is the great thing about having those names on there. These are sort of like bookmark size. Ads for her previous books there, and some coloured inspirational images from the paintings here. But you'll see in her other books, the line art was a lot blacker. There wasn't any of that grey. There's a lot of detail and there were smaller images like that. Slightly different from the others. Very, very gorgeous. The latest colouring book from Jasmine Becket-Griffith. The links to buy it, as always, are below the video or at the top and the bottom of the blog post if you're reading this at Colouring Queen. Until next time, happy colouring.